this very quickly.
All right, what's up everyone? It's Caddy with Money Investing. Welcome on board. If you guys can see me, hear me, just give me a thumbs up. I just want to make sure that the audio and the video is working well. And yeah, just give me a thumbs up. We should be all set. QQQ is pushing higher, a little bit over 37 basis points right now, trading back up to 273.80. We've got the SPY up a little bit over 40 basis points, and the Dow Jones is also up over 26 basis points right now. Perfect. Audio and video is great. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Tomorrow is inflation, so very important CPI report coming out tomorrow. I've got the poll for inflation going on right now, so make sure that you do vote if you want to participate, because we've got inflation tomorrow, bear case, base case, optimistic, and bull case selections from those different polls, and we are ready tomorrow, less than 24 hours. I will be live at 8 a.m. Eastern tomorrow to cover those inflation numbers, CPI numbers. That's going to be so important for the month of December. But right now, markets are certainly pushing higher, and we are seeing a little bit of a momentum to the upside at the moment. Now, story of the day. This is making headlines. FAA, which is the Federal Aviation Administration that pretty much administers all airlines, anything related to airlines and aircrafts and stuff, lifts ground stop that halted U.S. departure after technology outage. So they were supposed to, they pretty much lifted the halt that was there up until 9 a.m. Eastern. So what really happened was that there was a technological outage, and pretty much FAA halted a nationwide all flights. There were, I think, close to 1,000 flights that were halted and canceled on Wednesday morning after a technological outage that delayed thousands of flights. And the system that failed sends messages to pilots alerting them about the equipment outages and hazards and closed runways, among other information as well. So they lifted this past 9 a.m. and more than 4,000 U.S. flights were delayed as of 8:30 a.m. Eastern, according to the FlightAware. And residual delays could last hours from the backup once the ground stop is lifted. So absolute chaos in the United States when it comes to FAA. And this map absolutely looks crazy when you think about it. How many flights were coming in, going out, of course in the air. So yeah, absolute chaos there. Anyway, so we do have some upgrades and downgrades. So when it comes to Boeing, Wells Fargo added Boeing to the signature picks list. Then we've also got FedEx being named as a top pick from Credit Suisse. Bank of America downgrades Coinbase to underperform. We got Apple being rated as an equal weight, and Barclays lowers the price target down to 133 from 144. Mizuho initiates Oracle as a buy. Goldman Sachs names Tesla and General Motors, both of them, as their top 2023 picks. Goldman Sachs downgrades Jefferies to neutral. Then we've got Netflix as an outperform rating from Cowen. And Bank of America names Northrop Grumman as a top 2023 pick. That's again going to be in aerospace defense. And then finally, we got Warner Brothers Discovery to buy from neutral from Guggenheim. That's an upgrade. And Susquehanna downgrades Southwest to neutral from positive. And then finally, Bernstein downgrades Salesforce to market perform. Moderna as buy from Deutsche Bank, and Morgan Stanley reiterates Microsoft as overweight. Cowen reiterates Amazon as outperform as well. So some outperform overweight ratings on Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix. Tesla getting a little bit of a upgrade as well, and Apple getting a lowered price target but still reiterated as equal weight from Barclays. So that's where we are for the day. That's a pretty quick roundup. And let's see, good morning. Make sure that you do vote if you haven't already, but we are all set. We should be good to go. And yeah, there should not be any lags either. I don't know why it's showing up, but anyway, so 26 basis points in the green for the Qs. We got the SPY here up over 33 basis points. So we did see a bit of a rally, but now we're starting to pull right back down. And the Dow Jones also up 23 basis points. The 10-year yield is down 1.1%, trading a little bit under 3.6%. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is our probability sort of gauge for tomorrow, and we're looking at the bear case, base case, and of course optimistic and bull case as well. The consensus from the market is, I would say, a little bit more on the optimistic side for the month over month, and everything else is expected at pretty much the base case at 6.6% inflation on a year-over-year basis, 0.3% on a month-over-month basis, and for us to sit at 5.7% for core on a year-over-year basis, and the consensus month-over-month is going to be 0.0%, meaning no change from inflation in the month of December. So these are the different scenarios, and that's what's on the poll if you want to participate and, of course, vote. Satish, Caddy, I liked your My Day Trading Strategy video clip this morning. Thank you so much. By the way, you look great without those white patches around your right eye. Yep, so thank you so much. I really appreciate that. By the way, I posted a day trading strategy for all the members earlier today. That's a private video on Patreon if you want to access that. And it's a very, very simple sort of course, for all the day trading veterans, it's going to be a bit of a reminder, going over certain things, certain topics, and then also some day trading indicators that I also talk about in that video. Along with the strategy, and we'll talk more about that in our future tutorials and lectures. But yes, that eye patch, the cream is now gone. It is now fully healed, and I'm feeling much better. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's see. What's your OLAN on your trade ideas? Are you holding any of these options till tomorrow? Oh, what's my plan? I'm assuming you said, Christian, not OLAN. What's your plan on your trade ideas? Are you holding any of those options till tomorrow or cutting anything before we go into the CPI print? So I'm actually going to be trading simply TQQQs, SQQQs tomorrow prior to the open. So I don't have necessarily any options that are currently hedged for any reason for CPI tomorrow, but I'm going to be simply trading pre-market tomorrow after the numbers come out. So that's what I'm going to be doing, simply trading TQQQs or SQQQs, and I'll alert everybody in the Discord what I'm trading with. So that's the plan. All right. Yes, I could relate to some of the topics. I've been too impatient at times. Yep. So it's really important, confirmation wise, that is definitely very, very important. Let's see. Alibaba is a winner. Are you still adding to your position? So I don't own Alibaba right now, but yes, it has been doing really well. It's now getting up to a resistance, I feel like. So it's definitely overbought. So, Alibaba could also be one of those stocks that you could look into from a potential shorting perspective, considering how overbought it really is. With the RSI at over 77, almost 78, the MACD is really, really high, and the stock itself has rallied over 99, almost 100%. It's almost doubled from its October lows. So it's done really well in the last 6 months. Actually, year to date, it's up 26%. Last 3 months, it's up 53%. And Alibaba absolutely has been a very strong, clear winner so far in 2023. However, we're now approaching up to a resistance. So this is a very, very strong area of resistance for Alibaba. So we are definitely getting up to that level. One of the key things here to I also watch is that we're now, for the first time in a very long time, in fact, for the first time since February of 2021, it's been almost 2 years since Alibaba traded above its 300 simple moving average. This is the first time we're actually trading above the 300 SMA. So very, very strong breakout for Alibaba, but the next resistance is going to be inside this red rectangle, sitting roughly at around 120s. So overbought RSI, 120 resistance, does make it a decent candidate for a potential shorting opportunity, but even if it does sell off, I would look for low 100s and even, low 90s as a potential target for covering that short, considering that it is now trading above its moving averages after a very long time. Let's see. Did you say pre-market? Yes. So that's pre-market. Tomorrow pre-market, I will be live and I will be looking at some trading opportunities for TQQQ or SQQQs. Last few prints, we got a very good inflation data. That is true. We have seen some good inflation prints over the last couple months, and we want that trend to continue. So we want those numbers to continue to come in very, very good. So that is going to be very, very important. And again, we're going to pay close attention to the actual consensus and how we actually come in. The actual numbers are going to be over here. We'll compare them to the actual bear case, base case, optimistic, and bull case, and we'll kind of update this spreadsheet as well to better understand what the actual inflation number is on a year-over-year basis and what that trajectory looks like over the next 12 months for 2023 and what numbers we need to hit in order to get inflation back under control at under 2%. So this is a very, very good mathematical representation. It tells us literally what CPI needs to be. And as I mentioned before, for the Fed to be successful in their interest rate fight, Inflation needs to be at 0.2% or lower. Like we need to be on the left side of this spreadsheet over here if we are going to see inflation at close to 2% or under 2% in the next 12 months. If it's anything at 0.3% or higher, if it's on the right side of the spreadsheet, then good luck, right? So inflation in the next 12 months, if it's 0.3% or higher month over month, consistently over the next 12 months, then inflation is not coming down. So we understand that's the target that we need to hit for CPI. Dan is asking, negative print tomorrow. You mean deflation? It is in the cards. I'm going to say that's one of the bull case estimates. So that's definitely in the cards, for us to see deflation. And that would definitely allow for Kathy Wood and Jeremy Siegel to literally tell the world, I told you so. I would not be surprised if she literally goes on Twitter and starts tweeting threads on how there was deflation in the economy. And we're finally starting to see that if we get a negative print tomorrow, right? That's the bull case. And in that scenario, I do expect the markets to celebrate that quite, extensively, pretty much wildly. I would say the markets would be higher if we see deflation tomorrow, right? If we get a negative print, that will be a good day. That would be a very good day from a long perspective. But they revised the CPI print. Now expectations are negative. No way. Are they really? If they are, I'll have to update my numbers as well. Come on, markets cannot be that optimistic. Are you serious? Is the market really revised now with the consensus at negative 0.1%? That would be crazy if that's actually the case. CPI consensus tomorrow. No way, I don't believe it. That's so optimistic though. Like what? No, consensus range is still at 0.0%. So CPI month over month is still at 0.0%. So that's the consensus from Intraday. They do a good job in kind of putting together the list from all economists and strategists. I'm sure there's going to be different consensus in different places, but this is the one that we've been tracking, and 0.0% is what we have for the consensus, 6.6%. Another place to look at is going to be investing.com. And let's see if we can go over to the calendar. Where is the calendar? Stocks, no, markets. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I found it here somewhere. Oh, economic calendar right there. It was hidden by that stupid ad. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do tomorrow, and we are going to uncheck or pretty much go over to the United States. Okay. So the consensus is the forecast is going to be on this column. So this is the forecast. If you come down, CPI month over month is 0.0%. So even on investing.com, the forecast is 0.0%. Year over year 6.5% versus Intraday 6.6. See, that's the thing. That's what I was talking about. That if we actually see, they are the ones that are actually doing the calculation the right way. Intraday is not. Investing.com is. Right? So if you actually take a look, their consensus, and it frankly doesn't make any sense why Intraday doesn't have that, because if the consensus is 0.0%, then the year over year should be 6.5, right? Because that's how the math works. If we are at 0.0%, if we're over here, then December print will be 6.51%, 6.5 to be precise, 6.51 to be precise, 6.5 just rounding down a little bit. That's where we'll be, but Intraday has 0.0% and then 6.6, which doesn't quite make sense. And investing.com has 0.0 and then 6.5, which is the correct number, the correct consensus. So, and then for core, they've got 0.3 and 5.7. So that's 0.3 and 5.7. So that is correct. The only thing that they're kind of sort of like different on is that 6.6 and 6.5, 6.5. So maybe Intraday is kind of rounding up, but why would you round up from 6.51% to 6.6? That doesn't make any sense. But bottom line is that that's the number. All right, let's see. So the new consensus, well, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the numbers on Intraday and I'm looking at it on investing.com, and they both have 0.0%. So that's the number that we're going to stick with. So, okay, perfect. Thoughts for tomorrow, predictions. So I've already mentioned that I think, So that is not updated. It got revised yesterday, so it's not showing up on two places that we just looked at. So maybe if it does, then we'll see. I mean, if they're expecting deflation, that's way too of an optimistic consensus to begin with. I doubt that we're going to see deflation. But if that's the consensus, hey, the market can think about whatever it wants. At the end of the day, we'll see if that actually happens or not. But right now, we've got 0.0%, 0.0% on both ends. The consensus range, though, definitely is from -0.2 to 0.3%. So we definitely do have that 50 basis point range from deflation to slightly small inflation. So again, we'll find out soon enough what those numbers are going to be in less than 24 hours. All right, so NASDAQ, I'm going to switch this up a little bit, and we are ready for market open. We do have a lot of individual stocks pushing higher. Tesla is back up to 122, so finally starting to see that breakout to the upside, up almost 3%. We've got Apple here up 0.5%. We got Google up 0.64%. Microsoft up 85 basis points. So few of our trade ideas like Amazon doing really well, continuing on that push, up 1%, targets up to $96, $97. CrowdStrike got a very nice bounce yesterday. It's now up another 87 basis points, almost back up to $97. In fact, it was trading up to $97 pre-market. And then Google also starting to push right back up, 0.5%. We'll see if these rallies continue or if we start to roll over right when the market opens here. All right, let's see. All right, we're talking about eggs again. Come on, guys. We already know it's expensive. We gotta start the day on some good news, right? We don't want to bring eggs into the conversation again and get everybody low-key disappointed. So, the fact that they revised it is suspect. They don't want a massive rally. That's why. Yeah, that's quite weird, right? I mean, deflation-wise, I mean, yeah, that's way too of an optimistic of a consensus. Like it's like one of those things where we're like expecting way too optimistic numbers, and we come in below that. That's a disappointment. I feel like even at no change, 0.0% is going to be huge. Like that's going to be great numbers that we're not seeing any change. Like prices didn't go down, but they didn't go up either, and that's a lot of progress on inflation. But if the consensus now, apparently, which you guys are telling me, and I've seen a couple of other sources, and it's still 0.0%. But if you were telling me that it's been updated to deflation, -0.1%, then yeah, that's way too optimistic. And if the market doesn't hit that number, it's gonna be like, oh, is that supposed to be bad? Is that supposed to be good? Like, we don't know. So, gas is cheaper. Yeah, good news is your face looks better. Yep. So that's better. Thank you. So anyway, so we got about 30. It's a pretty good split. We got base case optimistic at 29-30%. That's a good split there. And bear case 22%, bull case 20%. So it's a pretty split vote. Like I would say it's very, very tight. It's very divided. Of course, there's no like clear winner. Like there's no consensus out there that's like, clearly outperforming. It's like all of them are like very, very tight, especially the base and the optimistic case, like 1 percentage point away. And even the bear and the bull case are like almost like very similar in terms of the polls there. All right, 2 minutes left. We are ready for Wednesday, and we'll see. The markets for the last week and a half so far in 2023 have been incredibly choppy. All we've really seen is a lot of consolidation for the market sideways with a few breakouts. So I'll give them that. This week we started with a very nice breakout, a little bit of rejection at 274.75. So that's going to be the resistance intraday. That's the one to focus on. And then, of course, we got sold off here. We consolidated sideways yesterday, had a nice little rally towards the end of the day with some nice volume. So today the focus is going to be on 274.75. We'll see if we actually do get that breakout above that level. And support level is going to be at 269.90 or closer to $270. Yeah, let's see what happens for the Qs at 275. But can we break up? Yep, so that's going to be a big level at $275. Very, very important. That's exactly where we got rejected here. And in the past as well, we have found resistance at those prices for the NASDAQ. So important level. Prior to the big inflation numbers here. Volatility flat, oil prices here right now pushing higher now. Once again, 2.6% gain, $76 per barrel back higher. Bitcoin slightly lower, Ethereum slightly lower as well. And of course, a lot of individual stocks, especially Tesla, definitely on the move. But the real question is, can these gains hold up? Or is there going to be more downside intraday? Here we go. So markets are open. Your opening bell, ding, ding, ding. So we are ready to go. 275 is going to be that level that we're watching intraday right now. Just see if you get that breakout on some reasonable volume. Yeah, the RSI does start to feel a little bit on the overbought side considering the rally from the last few minutes of yesterday. RSI right now is, wow, gosh, 88.5. So definitely very, very overbought right now. So is the MACD. So to answer your question, Kevin, I am going to lean a little bit more towards the QQs getting at least a little bit of rejection at 275, considering that we are quite overextended here at these levels. But a lot of it, again, if Apple starts moving through, if Google starts pushing higher, it's up 1.6%, so a very nice move. And if Microsoft and Amazon and Tesla, like if these companies really start to pump here, oh, right when I was saying if they start pumping your Tesla with a big red candle, it's almost as if like the bears were like listening to what I had to say. So we're starting to see a little bit of a pullback here. You should get an opening bell. Air fryers are life-changing. Oh, Anthony, so random and so true. I've been using air fryers to cook my like taco honey chicken tortillas, and they have been so good. I love it. Like I use them for all my cooking needs, but so random too. Like what? But no, you're absolutely right. Ring a bell at opening every live stream. So I won't ring it, but I'll definitely say it. You know, so I'll say the opening bell every live stream, every morning. You should be talking about the chicken at your dates. Well, maybe I will, but I feel like chicken and eggs right now are too sensitive of a topic, Puneet, so I definitely want to skirt away from those topic of discussion, because if I start talking about chicken and eggs, it can be a very, very expensive date. So, and Kevin knows me, I'm definitely going to be using my coupons, so no thank you. I'm not one for paying $12 a dozen for eggs. But anyway, Tesla here is still up 2%, getting a little bit of a breakdown. So is Google starting to pull right back down. Apple also trading lower, and Microsoft here still green, but definitely not showing any momentum whatsoever. QQQ's coming down, and they had to, because RSI was extremely overbought after the price action from last few minutes from yesterday. So RSI is now a lot more neutral, coming down to under 60, and the MACD also pulling back. So support levels are going to be at closer to, let's see, 273, 272, a little bit on the 1 minute chart. Something to also focus on. So Puneet, curious, how did you even come up with that recipe, lol? What did you even say? Say it again. So it is, so what you do is you pretty much take chicken, right? So chicken thighs is what I take, boneless chicken thighs. I marinate it with taco seasoning, super good. And then I put a little bit of honey in it, right? So you marinate it, you get your hands dirty, you marinate it well, and then you put it in the air fryer. Once it's done, cook for about 15-20 minutes, about 300 Fahrenheit. I know it in Celsius, close to 190 degrees Celsius. Once it's done, cut it, and then take a tortilla wrap, put whatever dressing you want. I like Chipotle mayo. Regular mayo is also fine. Put the chicken. I put some scrambled eggs in there. I also put spinach, onions, wrap it up, and toast it for a few minutes, and you're good. Literally lunch in under 25, 30 minutes. So good. So healthy. Really good. But anyway, so back to the markets. I'm actually trying out new recipes these days. Of just been cooking a lot more than usual. But yeah, we'll share some with you on Discord. But here, MACD right now, 273.85. That's the middle VWAP. That's what we're kind of struggling with right now for the Qs. We'll see if we actually do get that breakout. And a lot of the momentum right now, Apple's coming back in. Microsoft's really starting to push through. Tesla, once again, just making some lower highs and lower lows. And Google still starting to pull back and then kind of testing its middle VWAP right now. Kevin, got any brownie recipes? I'm actually trying out a new one. It's not really like a brownie recipe. It's actually a lot healthier. So I'm going to be trying that out actually tomorrow. It is like a breakfast cupcake with literally no sugar. The sugar that comes from is from bananas, baking soda, and chocolate chips. So I'll share that with you after the live stream. Guys, what are we even talking about? Can we get any market questions, please? Can we talk about the markets? What type of stocks can I look at? So, okay, First Solar, FSLR. So that one, yes, I think that one is also very much like Enphase. It has pushed higher, definitely, but not quite overbought, right? So it's not really as overbought as Enphase is. So definitely pay close attention to this. MACD started to push higher, so did the RSI. So technically speaking, we're not quite overbought right now. And valuation-wise, definitely super, super high. Price to sales a little bit under 7, 180 times earnings, 150 times cash flow. So I would wait on First Solar to become overbought before it starts to make sense on how you want to play it on the downside. Enphase was certainly, not only was it overbought, but also valuation-wise, it just did not make sense at 340, 335, 330s. And from those levels, it's pretty much dropped good $100, right? So that's a 29-30% drop for Enphase that worked out really well. So right now, it's just kind of sitting at that 300 SMA with an oversold RSI and MACD. So I do think that Enphase has a little bit more upside potential here, more of a technical bounce from these levels. Look at Microsoft Go. Look at what's going on with Microsoft. So very, very nice. You seem to love the recipe questions more. No, I do. I'm always open to learning new recipes. If you guys know any healthy recipes that are gonna involve any chicken, eggs, or anything that's really, really delicious, I'm always open to that. So, and also not like too complicated because I'm not like a great cook. So, something that's much easier to make. Anything that can be done in an air fryer, yeah, let me know. But anyway, can we talk about the political economic state of the world right now? So that will definitely be a very, very long conversation. I've take profit at 107 XBI. How likely? Let's take a look for biotech. So XBI, lots of consolidation. $97 is more likely, I would say, versus 107. I think that's a resistance that we could potentially get up to. But biotech has really been, especially small biotech, right? So I forgot what that ETF was for IBB. So that one's also consolidated sideways. And it's just trading at that 300 SMA. But XBI, which is a smaller biotech, is mostly traded sideways. It's just so much consolidation. It hasn't really made any moves in such a long time. But if and when it does break out, I do expect XBI to at least get up to $97. That's going to be that first target to watch for that stock. All right, QQQs now getting up to 275 here. We're almost there, 274.70. Nice break of that middle VWAP there. That was a potential jump of 30-40 basis points. But 274, 275 is going to be that level to really be paying attention to right now. Place chicken in the crock pot with salsa. That's a good one. I'll definitely... Caddy must be rich if he's eating eggs. Oh, Kevin, you always crack me up. The comment from... what was his name? Voss yesterday during our Fed meeting. Man, you guys were cracking me up. Those were some funny comments from all of you during the Fed speech, like Jerome Powell's panel discussion, and man, I could not stop myself from laughing. That one specific comment where he goes, "How to make 5 minutes last 1 hour 101." That was just so creative and so funny at the same time. It was unreal. Um, okay, Salesforce short for a little day trade. So let's take a look for CRM. Down 1.3%. Definitely a bit of a gap down here. So if you come over to the 30-minute chart, what we will see is a lot of momentum for Salesforce, and it's been pushing higher recently. A very nice move from lows of 125, 15, 19, 20%. So Salesforce overall, I would say, has a little bit of a downtrending channel. Obviously, it's been making lower highs. So this right here is the lower highs for Salesforce. Our fair value is closer to, I believe, in the low 100s. So I'm definitely going to be waiting for it to make sense from a fundamental standpoint. But I do think that, yes, after this push higher, we're not quite overbought yet, but looking at the RSI, the MACD definitely does make sense why there is a little bit of a short bias on CRM right now, just considering that we're kind of tagging along to that lower high. And let's see where those moving averages are. So we're still kind of far off from those moving averages. 200 SMAs sitting at 164.27 right now. All right, let's take a look at crowd. All right, so flat right now, still in range, still getting a little bit of a support at $94, $95. It has been very choppy, right? Over the last couple of days, 3 days, 4 days, it's been very much back and forth. Like if you notice how it's traded in the last 4 days, from that support, like look at that support, how well it's pinpointed to 92.27 twice, not once, twice, right? So this right here, the green line, it came down once down to 92.26. Yesterday, it came down to 92.25. Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm not even making this thing up. And then we bounced, 8% from those levels. And then from yesterday, it bounced another 5.3%. So it's crazy, right? Target's still up to 108, but the technicals are still weak. I feel like the price action still suggests that, it's kind of holding us down, especially the 200 SMA right now. And if you take a look at the overall downtrending channel, it's just been very, very weak from a technical standpoint. So from a risk reward perspective, it still makes sense because it's been getting validated at 92.25 really well. Now, not once, but twice now, it's got validated at that support. Target's still up to that level, so that still leaves us with some good risk reward ratios with a potential only risk of 5% and an upside of close to about 12.5%. And we do still have this gap that we need to fill, that the white rectangle you see, that's the gap that Square needs to fill in eventually, all the way up to as much as $101, $100, and all the way up to 125 to 132. Those are some other gaps crowd needs to fill. Okay, is Boeing dying or no? So Boeing, we gotta wait a little bit. I think Boeing here up 1%. So I think a much better opportunity to short is going to be at closer to 230s. Right now it's just consolidating sideways, but RSI MACD still overextended. It's come off a little bit down to now under 70. So we did see a bit of a small minor pullback, but I would wait for it to get up to 230. Now if it starts dropping before that, it's again, that's the risk you run if you want a better risk reward setup, right? Because right now you'd be risking a lot more than the potential reward. But if you're a little bit more patient, then the risk reward profile definitely changes in our favor. So 230 is going to be that level. In order for it to get up there, that's like another 5 to 7% gain for Boeing. Even at 221, I mean, we've got some resistance levels at 221 to as much as 230. So that range between 220 and 230 is what I would be paying attention to for Boeing. All right, why is in mode down? We can take a look at that as well. So TQQQ as a longer term play, good play for the longer run. So as I've mentioned before, Kenny, TQQQ definitely is a leverage ETF. So you want to keep that in mind when you are trading leverage ETFs. They are very, very volatile. They're very aggressive. You want to make sure that you don't get caught up on the wrong side of the trade, because if you do, that's not going to be a good situation. So they're mostly used to trade, right? So day trading and swing trading perspective, because their goal is to give you the 3 times the returns, the daily returns of the underlying index, which is the QQQ. They will not replicate those returns over a longer time frame because of decay. And even if QQQs go sideways, if it doesn't do anything, it just trades sideways, TQQQ will still lose money because of the expensive fees that they're paying to construct all these options and futures in order to kind of keep them pegged at their underlying index. So that's one of the reasons why long term it can be potentially detrimental to hold it, because if a 20% drop happens on the NASDAQ, you're looking at least a 50% drop on TQQQs. So they're good for trading, but from an investment standpoint, I'd be very careful. So in mode is down. Wow, 4%. But it's mostly been in range, right? So it's been mostly consolidating sideways in this range here. So, lower highs and a little bit of lower lows. So lots of consolidation sideways. Resistance at 40.57. That's going to be that resistance level. And support, of course, all the way down to under 28. And our intrinsic value still stays put at $21, $22. I'll update that after the earnings come out in February for in mode. All right, so what we're seeing for the markets right now, slowly and steadily, we're kind of grinding up. S&P is up 62 basis points. We've got the Dow up 43 basis points, up 140 points, and NASDAQ's up 70 basis points right now. QQQs are almost getting up to that $275 resistance. We got a very overbought RSI and MACD on the 5-minute. So we'll see if it actually does break to the upside or not. Quite unlikely, but we'll see. Netflix has a strong resistance at 332. Yep, so 330 around those levels. 332. We've got the 300 SMA. We've got the previous resistance here, previous support at that price for Netflix, and it's kind of filled that entire gap. Now there is a gap to fill for Netflix all the way up to 459. This is going to be the next gap that Netflix may need to come back up to. But right now, resistance at 332. Yes. Enphase is good price at 200. So, Vince, from a long perspective, I still don't think Enphase would be a good value at 200. Man, it's now starting to really bounce. RSI and MACD oversold. This is probably a swing trade idea that I should get out to the members, because it's like bouncing off of that 300 SMA very, very nicely. And we've got an oversold RSI MACD with a very good risk reward setup for Enphase. There's not a lot of risk. It's only 4% risk for, if you can take a target up to like 267 or even lower, say if we come down to this support here at 261, that's at least 10-12% upside. So that's decent for Enphase. Not unlikely after the destruction it's seen in the last few weeks here. But only from a technical standpoint, not from a fundamental standpoint, because intrinsic value is still lower. Dorino, could you take a look at pins? It's been trading in range or channel lately. Do you think it could give you a good opportunity to short? So pins, wow, so up another 2.8%. Yep, so a lot of consolidation sideways for Pinterest as well. So one of the things I think is important to identify for a lot of these stocks is that they are now finally starting to climb up to their moving averages, right? So Pinterest, if you notice today, as of today, it is up 3%, trading back above its 300 SMA, right? $26. It has not traded back above its 300 SMA since August of 21. So it's been a little over a year and a half since Pinterest has traded above its 200 and 300 simple moving average. So those are pretty big technical shifts for individual stocks. that's in general, it's a very bullish sign if we are trading above our average prices. Now, of course, moving averages have sold off so much that even a small bump can put us back above those moving averages, but that's still considered a big technical shift for individual stocks. So keep that in mind, but we do have a resistance to follow up with, I would say. So if there's a range, we've got Pinterest coming up to that range at around $27. So we'll see if Pinterest kind of breaks above this higher high where it's gotten rejected every single time, or if it gets rejected again at that level. So let's do a quick round. Tesla here still up 2%, just holding above 120 for now. Apple, once again, man, so much consolidation for the market. It's just been trading sideways. QQQ seems to be a little bit of a ascending triangle right now. We're seeing some higher lows with a little bit of a horizontal resistance for the Qs. We'll see if we actually do break to the upside. And SQQs are definitely trading in between that lower high and lower low range. So I think there is a chance that we see a bit of a breakout to the upside on the Qs. So among big tech, Nvidia's down, Meta's down slightly, Netflix is down. Amazon's up 3% today. A very strong move on Amazon. Almost getting up to that target of $96, $97. So that's the target that we have. That's the first target, and very nice move for Amazon. Another 3% day, and we're there for Amazon. 3 to 4% day. Very solid move on Amazon. And then we've got Tesla, the second winner. Google's also up. InMode down quite a bit. Intuitive Surgical's down 4.6%. We got Zim Integrated still hovering around $17. Alibaba with a little bit of a pullback. Then we got AMC, look at that, 14%. AMC and GME, like those things are still alive right now. Pinterest up 4%. So pretty much getting up to $27. Something that we just talked about. Almost tagging along to that resistance here. We'll see if it actually breaks out even further. Upstart, Teladoc pushing up 4 or 5%. We got Unity Software, Palantir, Roku, Baidu pushing through. Tattooed Chef's up another 2%. Neo's up 2%. Walgreens up 1.5%. Everything else is just up 1.5%, close to 2%. So not a whole lot. But QQQs looks like starting to a little bit of a breakdown here. And that's happening because of Microsoft. Microsoft really struggling now. Really starting to sell off. And so is Tesla and Google and Apple. Sandeep, are we looking at a long-term reversal for the market to the upside? So for a long-term reversal for the market, there's only one trend line that we need to focus on. So if I remove everything, right, there's only one trend line that we are going to be focusing on, and that is going to be just this lower high, right? So that's the lower high on the NASDAQ, and for the S&P, there's also this lower high over here. So if we can start to break above these levels for the market, then we are clearly in a technical shift for the markets. We're starting to break apart from that lower high, lower low. Instead, we're starting to make these higher highs and higher lows. That's a big technical shift, right, for the market. That, from a technical standpoint, is really important. But of course, from a more fundamental and macro perspective, we have to really focus on what inflation is going to be like, what interest rates are going to be like, and all the whole book, right? Kind of going over those things. Yeah, the dollar's holding up 103 DXY because it's at support, right? It's at a really strong support. This has been a previous resistance for the dollar. You'll notice a couple times we actually got up to that level back on December of 2016. This right here back on March of 2020, we kind of got rejected at that level for the dollar. And right now you're starting to see a bit of a breakout, of course. We saw that in 2022, and now we're starting to come right back down, and that's acting as a new support for the dollar. So Microsoft rolling over, and so is the QQQ. Bit of a breakdown below the middle VWAP. And the market's really, man, I mean, this past couple weeks have been so choppy for the market. It's like a lot of back and forth. It's just no directional bias whatsoever. It's like you push higher in the first 30 minutes, reverse, and then start selling off for the next 30 minutes, reverse once again, start pushing higher for the next hour, and then towards the power hour, you pretty much get sold off. And that's been going on for the last week here. All right, everyone. So that is going to be it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in for our live stream tomorrow. Make sure that you join us early, 8 a.m. Eastern. So we'll be live to cover those very, very important inflation numbers. So that's going to be this and this chart. And we'll dedicate a full 5-minute discussion on the prices of eggs, another 5 minutes on the prices of orange juice, another 5 minutes on the prices of whatever you want to discuss. All right. So we'll talk about, because the inflation report will be right in front of us. We'll have every little detail and the prices and the changes for every little thing. We'll talk about that. Okay. So 8 a.m. Eastern, I'll be live. We'll go over some of the details that we need to talk about prior to the numbers coming out. And then, of course, we'll wait for the countdown at 8:30 a.m. Eastern when the big Powerball Mega Million numbers come out. That's a CPI print. 4 numbers. 4. So, as always, happy investing. Make sure that you drop a like, subscribe, and the link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. And as always, happy investing. I'll